Hi, in this video, we're going to finish up Q&A live call. This is number 2 video, but I also really wanted to take a moment and say Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for all of you being here. It's been a great year. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for visiting the channel and telling your friends about it. Keep it up. It's important information. We've got a lot coming out in 2023, as well as remember to like, subscribe, and share, and have a glorious, happy new year. Merry Christmas. Hi again, everybody. Thanks for being here. I love the background there, Mike and Jenny. Looks very cozy at your house. Yeah. Okay. So we'll just roll right in to the next questions. Oh, it is from Jen and Michael. Perfect. So are we obligated to let our clients know that they are allowed to claim any fees, services spent as a tax deduction? No, you don't have to do that. As you noticed, I didn't say much about it, but if one of you says, hey, Dr. Layne, we'd love to have a better receipt than the one on the credit card, or if you sent me a check, you didn't even get a receipt. We just have our agreement. I am absolutely going to give you one. Right. So no, you're not obligated. And you can on certain receipts say just thanks for the contribution or thanks for the donation. And do you feel clarified? Okay, good. All right. Here's our fun not-for-profit stuff. Would you provide more clarification on the language around not-for-profit? So kind of back to the banking question is a lot of the stuff that we say is so that other people that we're trying to do business with will understand. Okay, so think of a 501c3 can be a charitable, many times they are a charitable organization. That's not necessarily what we are, although we might have part of that in our association and our ministries. 501c3s, they can have a nonprofit or part, they can have a not-for-profit part, they can have a for-profit. So we can as well. Now, here's another neat picture for everybody in our bucket that we talked about last time. So we had our 508c1a Constitutional Shield, Founding Documents, Ministry. So now, when you have a ministry, you're using 508c1a tax code, and money comes in to the ministry, that's not a taxable event. It stays in the ministry, it circulates around, you're using it for necessities, you're using it for a living expenses, you're using it for books and healing supplies and whatever it is that you're doing in your ministry. So it just stays in there. If you take it out and pay yourself, then that over there, that's the taxable event. Okay, so again, now we have this container, only now we have a container of what's coming in. So even if you have a service, so we'll say as chiropractic, okay, kind of, it's a little funny to say thanks for the donation or thanks for the contribution on your receipt for a chiropractic visit. But if that doesn't leave the ministry, that money that came in, then according to the 508, and we read all that stuff in the beginning, that they have to stay out of our business. They cannot define what we're doing. And we're not, here's another clarification too, we are not doing anything that's considered substantive evil or clear and present danger. Could we be challenged on this? Maybe, not going to lie. Especially since they seem to think that they do want to meddle, but we have not made that agreement that says, I am allowing you to be part of my business. We're actually saying, no, we're not allowing you to be part of our business. So we're using language that the bank can understand, that maybe other people can understand. But Understanding not-for-profit. Almost anyone can start a not-for-profit group and apply for tax-exempt status. But many not-for-profit organizations won't qualify. And of course, this references the 501c3, as it is only for charitable organizations, which is kind of not all the way true. But not-for-profit organizations can be social clubs that exist to serve their members, social welfare organizations, civic leagues, labor organizations, and business leagues. Though they say these would be tax exempt, but not 501c3. So there's some, again, there's some little funny distinctions. Again, it's all that kind of double speak language, but I would encourage you to go do a search and put them side by side and say, all right, well, which part of our business is not for profit? Is any of it? Is it all nonprofit? Is everything staying in here? Are we going to have a for-profit? Which, by the way, a for-profit, if you had, so some people are doing this, where they've got a coffee shop that's open to the public, and that's for-profit. They can donate all the proceeds back into the ministry. Maybe I shouldn't say all, depends on the state. But they can donate proceeds back into that, or they could take it and let's say they're doing something else with that that's out in the public. So they can do that as long as it's designated properly. Does that make sense? Sort of? Okay, good. And if you have some questions on it, just write it down and we'll see, we can get to that. Are we technically for profit according to one of the videos? Again, are you? Or are you not? Yeah. Okay, stays in there. Ministry, association, it's just working in there. Pay myself. Now I may need to show some income or file a return over there. Is that only for churches and ministries? How does it apply to our business? Churches and ministries, it is, again, stronger, more recognized perceptually. There's all of the case law on the ministries. There's case law on the associations. Again, if we're using 508 and we've got a ton of case law and you are saying, hey, I've got a very firm spiritually held belief system. I'm running my association this way under that faith-based organization. We had read that little blurb that was awesome. From page 2 of the IRS tax guide for churches and religious organizations. Churches and religious organizations may be legally organized in a variety of ways under state law, such as unincorporated associations. Okay. So I guess it's not just for churches and ministries. It's just more perceptually well known that that's what they can, what they do. Faith Private Health Association, can you have affiliate links? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And then I think you have more detail on that. We have a product that we usually have shipped directly from the company, and we get a commission from said company. I am assuming I need everyone who orders via our links to be a member. It'd be a good idea. Yeah. Again, kind of like the open air markets. You don't have to, but it's a really good idea. And especially as a health association, because you don't have as much freedom as the ministry does to do that open air thing. Like everybody you work with should be a member. Would just like clarification with our clients ordering products from us. They usually need to agree. Yes. I need clarification on this. Members or a bank may request to see our bylaws, but no one has a right to request our articles of association. Is this correct? That's correct. That's correct. And I have a nice statement on that. Our internal documents. Bylaws can be shared with members since they are your laws. The certification of unincorporation, this is unique to ministries. The certification is the document that informs them who has the authority to act on behalf of the ministry and enter into any contractual obligation on behalf of the ministry. So, and I have to really fess up because as you all know, this is a ton of information. And in 2 years, there's been a download into my brain, and sometimes some things get crossed, and then and so I know for sure, and I apologize deeply that I've said it opposite. I've said that the bylaws are the internal and not the articles of association. So I apologize. I don't think it's much harm done on that if somebody did show their articles of association to the bank, but from this point forward, we all need to know that that's internal. Yeah, so, and we're clear on that. Good. Okay, so when wanting to sell the ministry, are there any requirements to be aware of?
Hi, I just wanted to pop in here, bit of a clarification on the topic of selling the ministry. You don't really sell a ministry. What would you be selling? Your founding documents. So you would be selling the assets out of the ministry if that's what you were doing. And you would find a lot of wording on this in the termination section. So just wanted to pop in there, carry on.
The 501c3 rules are that you can't make a profit. Is this correct? Well, it's correct for the 501c3. And again, we go back to, now this is also found in the founding documents, especially for the ministry. It really gives a lot of detail on this sorts of situation, but we want to think about this. So ministry sells. Where's the money going? Does it go back into the ministry to do something else in the world? Or is the ministry going to donate the profit? You can hold assets. It says it right in the bylaws. You can hold assets, you can buy property, you can donate, you can do all the things that we would know as good business. There's also bylaws in there that talk about how monies can be distributed. Maybe there is a successor trustee. Maybe there is some property that needs to be bought. So it says you can do all of those things. So I encourage people to really read their bylaws, really read their documents. Again, I am not a property, a law attorney, any of those things, but it does tell you how to go. If you still have a question about that, go ahead and reach out to a qualified CPA, run scenarios with them. I do it all the time. I'm like, hey, so I just have a question about this. And some of them will be baffled and some of them will, I think it would be like this. Okay. But from what I know from those founding documents, from those bylaws for a ministry, it wouldn't even really be so much considered a profit. It's an asset. And you're probably going to put it back into a ministry, or maybe it goes to a successor trustee, that sort of thing. We are having issues with health savings cards because the purchase is being seen as a donation and the health savings cards do not cover donations. Any suggestions? Yeah. One, I think it's fine because as long it goes back to our ministry bucket, is it staying in the ministry? Then it's fine.
Popping in again here with some possible very exciting news. I just spoke with people in the last couple days, a new payment processor. Actually, they're not new. They're just going to be new to us. And I'm getting myself assigned on. I talked to them about this situation and about being a nonprofit or not for profit or for profit, and how we could do all of those things with one payment processor. And they said, yes, yes, yes. And even if you don't have any of these situations and you just want them to take the money, those fees that they're taking, most of them are spending it on causes and the money's going to the places that we do not support at all. This payment processor does not do that. They're very America first, patriotic, and money goes to causes that we do support. So let me test it, and then I'm going to, of course, be sharing all the information with all of you.
That is a cute dog you have, Sarah. That is my dog at my house. Look at that cute dog. So yeah, so I wouldn't worry about it so much. You could call the merchant and say, well, can we is there something that will work? Can we change what it says on there? But I think as long as it's staying in the ministry and not out there into that taxable event, it's fine. When getting my bank account, US Bank asked for proof that we are a nonprofit organization. How does PMA get that proof? Take your bylaws and your little sheet from the IRS with your EIN number. That little paper. For our paid volunteers, so these are what we would know in the public as employees. For our paid volunteers, you can also call them ministers or members, depending on your structure. What are ways to help them with their taxes besides only giving them a check and telling them to save for taxes? You could, if you really want to, you could 1099 them. Just make sure that you don't send in the 1099 on your side, but you can give them a 1099 and tell them, whatever they do with that is their business after that. But really, it shouldn't be complicated. They do need to learn to self-govern and be self-responsible. And this is a really good training ground for that. So they do need to save for their own tax responsibility. Our disability policies, malpractice insurance, etc., different for paid volunteers. So I'm assuming that this paid volunteer is also probably a chiropractor. And so it would depend on the policy of the office. So is your malpractice insurance covering those paid volunteers as well? Or do they need to get their own policy? That's again is going to be a state to state thing, because in Nevada, I've never had to carry malpractice insurance. So that's a different state thing. Depends on what you want to do for your paid volunteers. And so it could be the same and it could be different. Sorry, I can't be more direct on that one or have more clarity on that one, because again, there's a lot of this stuff is like, if I try to learn the sales tax laws of every state, it goes into counties. Same with the property tax laws. That can go down to towns, boroughs. So it's different all across the nation. So everybody has to research in their own area. All right, we are doing good. Do ministries have to follow the same regulations and rules regarding private membership that other types of private associations have to follow in regards to performing paid services? I.e., do they require their clients who are also members of the ministry or implied members that have seen a disclosure statement with an implied approval? I think Holly is here. I might need clarification on that, but let me try at it here, Holly. So do ministries have to follow the same regulations and rules regarding private membership that other types of private associations have to follow in regards to performing paid services? I'm going to break that down. It's a little bit, I think what you're talking about, Holly, is that that membership thing that we talked about. If you have an open air market, do they have to become a member? No. If you're having paid services, remember, we're going in the bucket. If it stays in the bucket, then it's the same. So I'm not sure if I answered your question. Do you want to unmute?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Okay, so I guess my question was, are ministries rules any different when they are doing something that they're charging a donation fee for? as far as, does that person have to be a member before they can interact with the ministry, or is it okay to perform paid services just to regular people without requiring them to be a member of the ministry?
Oh, you always want them to be a member.
Is
Yeah.
it required that, is it legally required that they are either inferred or a paid member in order to work with me directly in anything that they would have a donation that's required by me to?
So
Yeah,
if they're going to
basically-
make a straight donation to you, no.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm talking about I would be performing a service for them and they would be paying a required donation fee. So instead of saying this is how much it costs, you say this is the required donation amount for this particular thing
Okay.
performed or provided to you by this ministry.
Right.
So it's an optional paid service that they can do. Do those people have to, just like you can't walk in the door of Costco unless you have a membership? Well, you can, but you can't purchase anything.
Right.
So same thing, like as a ministry, are my rules the same? Do they have to have approved my bylaws? Any kind of, do they have to cross any threshold in order for me to be able to do a paid interaction where they're paying the ministry a donation?
So why wouldn't you have them do that?
Just because, I don't care. I would totally have no problems with that. It's just one more thing to explain to people. But I do see a lot of ministries that have that where I can tell it's a ministry because before I even do anything, I have to sign up. Same thing with the website. Do you have to, be a member of the website in order to see the entire content? That's common with private associations and ministries, that you have to have a membership ID and password in order to get fully into all the information of what that particular entity provides, because you can't be advertising out to the public.
Okay, so let's stick with the first question and we're going to answer it.
Okay.
Yeah, because that membership agreement protects you and it protects your member. So,
Okay, so I should have them.
Spent all this money and you spent all of this time learning, and to not do it wouldn't make sense to me. Just have them, and all I do, and it's super simple, you guys, you just invite them. I'm going to invite you to become a member of my private ministry or my private association, and here's the benefits. Boom, 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 boom. And if they aren't a fit, thank you very much. And here's a referral.
Right. Well, they already know about the other thing that I'm providing for them. They just don't know it's a ministry that's providing it for them. So I'll just have to explain that part that says we are a ministry. And in order to interact with you, we must require a membership. I mean, I guess.
Yeah. Only I certainly wouldn't put it that way. It's always here. I'm going to invite you to become a member of my ministry, because it protects you. It protects our freedom of speech, our right to assemble, our right to privacy, our religious liberty. You might want to lead with that one since you're the ministry. And so it's just a simple membership application. And most of the people, if you're attracting that type of people, then they're going to be like, yes, of course, I want to do that. I've never had anybody say no.
Yeah, right. And if also, can you do anything that's inferred on their a client agreement form that doesn't mention specifically that? It just says by interacting, in this manner, it is assumed that you are. That's different than being a member. Just having an inferred approval of the bylaws is different than actually being a member, right?
Why would you have an inferred approval? I mean, if they're signing your membership application.
No, I'm saying if they weren't. No, I'm talking about my other client, my client agreement with them for the services that I'm going to be providing for them is different than a membership application for the ministry.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, then they need to do both.
So I'm saying, do I need to require both forms and have them fill out both in order to do that, the paid service for them? Would that be the safest, bestest route?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we didn't go through all this to just not use it.
Yeah, right. I Edison, no, my business entity was protected as a 508 even if I'm, not requiring every single person to have to be a member. I didn't know what my protections were until you just said it
You have
now.
them do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have them do that. Yeah. So,
Okay.
okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to
Thank
move
you.
on to the next one. Cool. All right. Same question for the website. Okay. So websites, I got a great video on that, but we'll go through it here. Okay. So one of the things you guys, be aware that yes, website, lots of people see websites. Don't blast it on there that says, get away from the government. Anti this, that, come on in, that sort of thing. It can be super gentle, and you've all seen mine at the bottom of every video, at the bottom of the email correspondence, at the bottom of my website. And it's the disclaimer that we talk about. I don't have any degrees that I'm not completely transparent about. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney, whatever. I don't even care if you take what it says on my website or the email. If you borrow that, use that, do it. It's totally fine. And then that you are responsible for your experience and your results. And by visiting this website, by watching this ad, by using this email correspondence, you are agreeing to the bylaws of the association now and in the future. So it can be as simple as that. Now, you're supposed to be advertising for members, right? But if you're advertising your services and they need to become a member in order to access your services, you're advertising for members. Yes? Okay, good. All right, I think there's more parts to this. You can do it, and again, in that video, it does talk about this. You can have an initial website, and then like Dr. Morse's Health Club, he's such a great example because he has that. Then it says, in order to come in to the website, access the products. Yes, he has the online form, membership form, and you just do the online signature. So there's different ways to do that. Advertising in the public, we talked about that. Must become a member. Yeah, okay. So we talked about all of those things, approving of the ministries, bylaws, and it just really, again, it's protecting you. Okay, so yeah, we want to use all of these things that we are learning about and that we are helping other people with too. Because, I mean, it's coming down. We're watching it every day where we need these constitutional protections. Okay. All right. I see I've got some stuff here in the chat. First one, question. How do we protect assets like houses, buildings, cars, etc. from taxes under the ministry? Oh, this is fun. You call your county assessor if you want to be property tax exempt or have an exception from property tax. And it's very doable, but make sure, and Reno's still small enough, they're super nice over at our county assessor's office. So I just called, and this is for both. It could be for both, but it's very strong for the ministry. They're kind of used to this. And I just said, hey, I'm calling for so-and-so and want to know about getting a tax exemption for an unincorporated ministry. Oh, you would just fill out this, and this. Now, when you're filling that out, you're very aware and you're very careful that they don't have a question on there. They're going to ask you some question that puts you back in, that they think you're a 501, any of those things. So you're just really aware. My colleague Carlene in New Jersey, they have gone round and round and round and talked to some very, very cool people. They finally ended up starting all over, and they just bought a church and they're property tax exempt. So you can do it, but it may take some time. Same with the sales and use tax. Call them up, have an unincorporated ministry. What paperwork do I need to fill out? Oh, okay. We absolutely have a form for this. So they're not completely unaware. So that's how you would do that, especially, okay, so for their cars, that's a great question. It would be same as we just go back to thinking about church. Is it part of the property of the ministry? And let's see, can you buy groceries under the ministry for ourselves? Oh, good one. Is it part of your living expenses and you're in a ministry? Yeah. So instead of that old vow of poverty, which we still can have in the documents, and we're actually talking about having it say both the vow of poverty and a renunciation and denunciation of worldly values and material things, that means your ministry is taking care of your living expenses. And I would think that groceries is a pretty important part of that. Good. All right, we have 5 more minutes. Does anybody have a burning question?
So what you just talked about with that, is it in-house and, but so is that specific to the ministry and not an FBO PHA?
It's I don't want to say it's specific, but because it doesn't in a private health association documents, it doesn't say it, the renunciation or the vow of poverty.
Oh yeah, I meant, not that part, but like the association paying for what might be an expense.
Right.
Is that a different line there if you don't have the ministry?
Again, because they're so close and similar, but I'm just a little more careful in the association space. Okay. So let's say my association doesn't pay for me to get my hair done. Okay. But it does buy groceries. Okay. So I'm just more careful about that sort of thing and kind of go back to that old business expense training, what we all have. It's my association takes more care of more expenses than it used to. But I still am a little more aware of that because it doesn't say that renunciation and denunciation of worldly values. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. Thank you. One more. Hi, Lindsay. Hi. Nice to see you. Are you saying we have to have sales tax requirements for products? Well, do you have products that have sales tax? Yeah. Okay. So if you want to have an exception to that, exception to taxations, then you need to file for the unincorporated process to be exempt from that. And you'll get I did answer the questions that you sent in. And I appreciate you all, everybody. Thanks for being here. All right.
Thank you, Layne.
Thank you. Bye.